ษา Goldman ชื่อเล่นมายาอายุ26ปีจบการศึกษาด้านการตลาดและด้านการเงินที่ Grande École d'Enseigne Paris France I'm here because I followed an instinct and some of the world's greatest female leaders are where they're at because they followed their instincts and I'm here to hopefully for you to help me and for me to help you bring the Miss Universe crown back to Thailand
คีย์เวิร์ดค่ะ
หยุดค่ะ
เริ่มค่ะ
Wildfire crisis is something that has happened very recently in not only Australia, which many of you may have heard of, but also in Chiang Mai. In Chiang Mai, there was a wildfire in the hill tribe areas where there were wildfires that people could not control and people could not really do anything, and it went on for longer than expected. So we need to be aware of this.
มีคำถามค่ะเชิญค่ะ
ขออนุญาตถามเป็นภาษาไทยนะคะ
ค่ะ
พิษเศรษฐกิจในประเทศไทยตอนนี้นะคะคุณอยากจะแนะนำรัฐบาลแก้ไขปัญหาอย่างไร
พิษเศรษฐกิจหมายถึง
the economic crisis
economic crisis
what suggestion would you make for the Thai government to cope with
Okay. So actually the Thai government is already doing multiple things for Thailand. They're opening up the borders in October in Phuket to test a quarantine system where they will welcome tourists to come in and hopefully increase the economy in Phuket. But not only that, they're also creating biological industries in order to help increase the economy of Thailand. So what I recommend is to keep doing what you're doing, Thailand, to keep following these ideas and to stand together with love.
เชิญค่ะคำถามอีกคำถามหนึ่งค่ะ
ถ้าเพื่อนถามว่ามายาจ้าเธอมีไส้หรือเปล่าจะตอบยังไงคะ
มายาจะมีไส้หรือเปล่า
ไส้ยูโนไส้ใช่ไหมคะ
ตอบยังไงตอบว่ามีสิคะเราเป็นมนุษย์เราก็ต้องมีไส้ค่ะแต่มากกว่านั้นจริงๆแล้วความรู้สึกที่เข้าใจมีไส้หมายความว่า do you have a gut ก็คือมีความทุ่มเทแล้ว courage ในตัวเองความเชื่อในตัวเองเพื่อที่จะดำเนินการต่อในความเชื่อแล้วก็เป้าหมายของเราค่ะ
เยี่ยมค่ะต่อค่ะดร.ต้องค่ะ
ถ้าสมมติมีคนมาบอกว่ามายาไม่ไทยพอไทยเนสไม่พอไม่เหมาะที่จะเป็นมิสยูนิที่จะเป็นตัวแทนคนไทยอยู่จะตอบเขายังไง
จะตอบเขาว่าเราโตขึ้นที่นี่ตั้งแต่อายุ8ขวบคุณแม่ของมายาก็เป็นคนไทยเขาเป็นคนอีสานด้วยนะคะแล้วมากกว่านั้นคือเรามีครอบครัวแล้วมีญาติที่เป็นคนไทยแล้วเรารู้สึกเหมือนเป็นคนไทยไม่ว่าหน้าของเราจะหน้าตาฝรั่งในหัวใจเป็นคนไทยค่ะ
น้องชามค่ะ
ขอต่อยอดคำถามเมื่อสักครู่นี้นะคะ
ค่ะ
What would you like to tell the rest of the world about Thailand
I'd like to tell the rest of the world that you guys are soon to be welcomed in Thailand. That Thailand is one of the safest places in the world right now. That you can come here and enjoy with security, with happiness, and with the love of the Thai people.
Thank you. มีคำถามอีกไหมคะ ถ้าหมดคำถามแล้วมีไหมคะไม่มีนะคะขอบพระคุณค่ะ
Say hello to Miss Universe 2020 contestant Maya Wanvisa Goldman live all the way from Bangkok, Thailand. Hello, Maya.
Hi, everyone. Sawadee-ka. What a pleasure it is to be here in front of all of you. And thank you so much, Adam, for having me. It really is an honor.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much thank you for the time in doing this. We really appreciate it so much. All of us here in Stash Factor really are so happy that you were able to accommodate us for a short interview this morning. So,
thank you.
To be honest, we got so excited that we actually don't know anything much about you, but we got so excited with your video clip with Miss Universe Thailand organization YouTube channel when you had your interview with them. I think it was with Miss Emmy Sawyer, and you guys were so articulate and well spoken in that interview that all of us here in Manila were like, "Ooh, who is she? Where did she come from?" So that's it. That's the purpose of this interview. Who is Maya Wanvisa Goldman? How are you feeling right now? What's your current mindset?
I feel very motivated, very positive. Of course, I'm a little bit nervous. I feel like having butterflies or nerves is very natural. I use it as a kind of a way of driving me, let's say. So I'm constantly trying to improve myself. I'm practicing every single day, and I feel very positive. I'm excited. Oh, and it's lovely,
Yeah.
honestly, to be here in front of you and in front of, you know, the people viewing the show right now. It's great.
Yeah. So, how do you feel that so many Thai pageant fans, or even us here in the Philippines, are so blown away by your short interview that you had with the Miss Universe Thailand organization in its YouTube channel
Oh,
last
I'm
week?
very I'm very grateful, and honestly, when I was interviewing, my expectation was not to get people to be blown away. I was just trying to be myself as much as possible, and it really is. It's an honor that people feel that way, and I'm very grateful. Thank you.
Because it's refreshing to see a Thai contestant that really articulate
Hmm.
in
Thank you.
expounding on what she says. Because normally, whenever we think of a Thai contestant, she's always meek,
Right.
reserved, a little
Hmm.
bit shy.
Hmm.
So imagine when we saw your video clip, like, expounding on a lot of issues during your
Hmm.
interview. Like, ooh, she can speak, she can talk. It's so
Oh,
refreshing. Yeah.
thank you.
And
It's really sweet to be
yeah,
acknowledged for that. Excuse me. Hmm.
but for the benefit of our viewers watching who are all tuned
Hmm.
in right now, could you introduce yourself a little bit to us, like name, age, height, what do you do, hobbies, interests, like those sorts
Absolutely.
of things?
Sure, sure. So my name, as you know, is Wanvisa Goldman. Most people call me Maya, and some people in Thailand actually know me as Champa, which is my Thai name. I'm 26 years old. I'm 170 centimeters tall. So I consider myself average height, I guess, a little bit above average, but I feel confident about that. I'm half Thai, half Argentinian. I currently own 3 companies. One is a startup, and the other 2 are family businesses. And I do some modeling on the side. I also volunteer for an organization in Denmark and an organization in Thailand. Hobbies include I'm a huge fan of reading, you know, as you've probably heard in the YouTube interview with Miss Universe Thailand. I love sports. My favorite include snowboarding, football. I love basketball. I love volleyball, just all kinds of sports. And I also enjoy meeting people, and I actually love traveling. I've never been fortunate enough to go to Philippines just yet, but Philippines is definitely a top bucket list destination for me. And yeah, that's basically it.
Ah, great introduction.
Thank you.
Wow, it's just in those 5 sentences, we feel like we've known you so much. So you're a
No,
business. Well, you seem to be empowered at your age. You seem to have accomplished a lot of things. Yeah. But
thank you.
before we get into that, yeah, but a lot of people, despite what you said, a lot of people still know more about your modeling career, given you have been
Hmm.
embarking a very successful modeling career there in Thailand right now. Because as we all know, you joined Asia's Next Top Model season 4 years
Yes.
ago, and you also
Hmm.
placed third in the
Hmm.
Face Thailand
Oh,
uh,
in Miss
a
Universe
few years.
Thailand. Sorry,
Yeah,
just to
and Miss
clarify.
Universe Thailand, the Face
Hmm.
Thailand, and then the Miss Universe Thailand first, right? No,
Yes.
no, yeah, Miss Universe Thailand before the Face
Yes.
Thailand. Which season? Yeah.
I was in season 3 for the face, and it was a
Uh-huh.
very interesting experience.
So I'm curious, you have been
Hmm.
modeling before, and then you already had the pageant experience, which is Miss
Hmm.
Universe Thailand. Was there a difficulty adjusting to both industries or both worlds? Because, let's face it, modeling and pageantry are both different worlds.
They're very
So,
different. Yes.
yes. So did you have a hard time adjusting?
They are very different worlds. And I would like to think I'm an adaptable person, so I can adapt to different environments. Difficulties, I would say I like to look at them as more as challenges. You know, as I mentioned in the interview with Miss Universe Thailand, modeling is very much an art almost. You know, it's all about your physical. What are your best angles? How do you move? Does it flow? Do you have the, you know, the, what do we call it? The power in the eyes, you know?
Smiles.
And yeah, the smize, exactly. That's a perfect way to explain it, the smize. And with the pageantry world, it's more about, I mean, it's a combination of how you present yourself, how you talk, and then it's also about your voice. So there was a little bit of a challenge, I guess, in, I'm a little bit of a, sometimes a little bit of a tomboy, you know, and with pageantry, it's very much a feminine, it's the way you present yourself, it's the way you stand, it's the way you talk, you know, and both worlds are very, I would say it requires some level of discipline. They're just different kinds of discipline, you know. So my challenge was definitely the way I held myself as a woman. And I did go through some mentorship and some training to, you know, kind of adjust the way I stood, adjust not being too rawr, guyish sometimes, you know, and being more put together, a little bit more feminine. That I would say is was my greatest challenge.
So how did you get yourself into the world of modeling first and foremost?
Sure. So I started modeling when I was like 13, actually. I was just walking one day in a shopping mall and there was this woman, I would say, and her name was P-Bud. So she was actually, I mean, I don't want to be disrespectful, but I actually respect that about her. She was a lady boy and she was the one who scouted me and she was proud of it. And honestly, she was a gorgeous person. And she was the one who taught me how to walk. She told me, come attend my classes. I will teach you how to walk. You've got something, you know, you should try it. And from there, I did my first competition, which was the To Be Number One supermodel competition. And this one is actually hosted. The organization was created by Her Majesty the Princess Ubonrat. She created this organization and I surprisingly won. From there, I guess I was encouraged to pursue a modeling career. I also had the opportunity to volunteer for her charity. And yeah, that's how it all began. I ended up coming to Bangkok actually at the age of 16 with a friend and my sister by ourselves. And we thought we'll just apply to every single modeling agency in Bangkok, see which ones get back to us and take it from there. And a couple got back to us. So I signed a contract. Yeah.
All right. So wait, so now that you mentioned about it, so you only moved to Bangkok when you were 16 years old. Prior to that, you've basically lived your whole life in Argentina?
Not exactly. So I was in Argentina until I was 3. And then I moved to Chile. We were in Viña del Mar, which is about 2 hours from Santiago, the capital city. And after that, my parents decided they wanted to change countries. So we were in South Africa for a bit, and then we were in Bali for a bit, and then we properly settled in Thailand, in Chiang Mai. I was around 8 years old when I settled in Chiang Mai. And I moved to Bangkok properly moved when I was 18, right after graduation. High school graduation. I moved. 16, I was kind of flying back and forth. Yeah.
Back and forth. Wow, at such a young age, you have been leading a very cosmopolitan life. So is your parent?
No.
So I assume your parents have some kind of work that involves a lot of traveling. Are they diplomats or international businessmen? So that's why you get to move from one country to another.
They were business people, actually, entrepreneurs such as myself. And surprisingly, you know, when they started their business, neither of them had graduated from high school yet. So my mom, she's finishing her bachelor's degree right now, and my dad still hasn't completed his high school degree yet. They were both very motivated individuals who refused to work in an organization for something below what they believed their values were. And they started businesses that revolved traveling, especially so they would get products, for example, in Asia, and they would bring it back to South America and sell it there and promote it, you know, promote the whole, this is from Thailand, it's handmade, or it's from Bali. And it was very successful.
Oh, all right. Wow. So once you relocated here in Thailand at the age of 16, you've just concentrated on applying and doing a lot of modeling jobs to get you by.
Yes. So I was, my parents, of course, were supporting me still financially, sending, 3 kids to an international school. There were a lot of challenges and, ups and downs because business is not always doing well. And because I saw my parents struggle, but do extremely well as parents, I guess, through the good and the bad, I felt very motivated to get modeling jobs because they helped bring money into my life and as well into my family. So I just felt like I was helping and somewhat giving back to my parents, Um, yeah, they're
All
actually a
right.
huge
So
inspiration to me, my parents.
yeah, I feel like so because you've been accomplishing so many things even such on a young age. So for sure you must have their work ethic must have rubbed you in some good way that even until now that you're older you get to hustle and do a lot of these amazing things even at only 26 years
Mhm.
old. So my next question is to you. How did you get yourself into the world of pageantry from the world of modeling?
I think I've always had this vision since I was 8 years old, this vision of myself sort of walking down a road, or let's say a carpet almost, where I was seeing lots of people around me and I was going by and kind of saying hi to people. And I didn't realize it at the time whether, oh, this is exactly, I'm going to be in pageantry. But I always felt like maybe I have something to give to the world, some experience to share, some kind of to show people that you really, like my parents, you really can start with no high school degree. Of course, if you get the opportunity to receive a high school degree and a university degree, it's brilliant. You have an advantage. But even if you don't, there is a way to make it. And I always felt like pageantry was a way to share one of these messages. You can start from the bottom and you can make it up. I mean, sincerely, I've met people who started from the slums of Bangladesh, who somehow, because of that mindset, they made it all the way up. And I think it's very inspiring. And I want people to know that.
So, hearing what you said, so you never planned to become a beauty queen because a lot of the girls that I interview says that it's their childhood dream to become a beauty queen. No,
Mhm.
yours is very unplanned. It just came, as you went along the way.
I would say beauty queen specifically, it came as I went along the way. And I do love the industry, but it just sort of happened, I guess with that bigger vision in mind. And then being a beauty queen sort of presented itself as an option, kind of like, here you go. Here's a way to do it, it's hard to explain. I mean, I'm sure you've experienced this as well, right?
Yes,
Where,
yes.
hmm
All right. So as we all know, you are very well spoken and articulate. Right now, I'm really impressed by how
thank you.
you really, you know, articulate yourself in front of us right now. So I'm curious to ask, what causes and advocacies are you most passionate about? And will one of those charity organizations you're affiliated with will
hmm
be something that we will see more of it as an advocacy that you might take up for this pageant?
hmm So the reason I chose these two organizations, I'll start with the one that is more broad, is WAF Awards, Water Air Food Awards, which is to do with our planet. Providing clean water for local communities, clean air, and clean food in a sustainable way that does not destroy our planet. I think it is very important that we do what we can to make sure our world doesn't die, because it doesn't matter what issues we have, racism, sex trade, any issue you have, if our world doesn't exist, these issues don't exist to begin with. That's first and foremost. Okay. Number two, for Pratanadi Foundation, they very much help women in this sense that they let women build their own opportunities. And, I know what it feels like to go through sexual abuse because I've experienced this twice in my life, actually, one a little bit more obvious and another one a little bit more indirect, I would say. But rather than saying, no, sex rape is bad or like sex slavery is bad, I think it's better to empower women to stand up for themselves and to say, I love myself. Therefore, I refuse to be treated like this. I love myself, so I will build an opportunity for myself. I don't think it's very productive for an organization to just help women. I think it's very productive for an organization to empower women to help themselves and to give them the tools they need in order to help themselves, which is why I'm also one of my startups right now, actually, my one startup is creating a platform for women to share these experiences relevant to sports, so they can learn to almost, or maybe not learn, the women who are already there where they want to be, they can share their experiences with other women so that they can help lift each other up. And they don't need to rely on me to say, hey, girls, you got this, you can do it, but rather group together and help themselves, let them feel that empowerment themselves, which I think is one of the true values of a good leader, is to be able to get others to empower themselves, to teach them how to do it so they can lift themselves up, and then they can spread that and they can spread that. I'm sorry, am I talking too much here?
No, it's okay. I'm actually being blown away. I like listening to you. No worries. I love being silenced and blown away by my guests. Like,
if I
okay,
talk too much, you can let me know.
It's okay. It's okay. It's your time to shine. It's really your time to
Thank
shine.
you.
The goal of this
That's very
interview is
sweet.
for a lot of people, for a lot of Thai pageant fans, and even fans from other countries in Asia to get to know more of you, so that at least once you become an official candidate next week, they have some sort of a rallying point. Like, okay, this is what Maya stands for in this competition. She's more than just a pretty face in the competition because she advocates for this and that. So I'm curious to ask, where is this bravery, courage coming from? Because a lot of women who might be experiencing who might have experienced the same thing, just like what you had in your younger years, would really, be cowed to fear, would really succumb to, will be almost resigned to the fact that, okay, our lives will no longer matter because, something tragic, something abusive happened to us. But you're turning it around by using this as some sort of a fuel or fire to ignite you, to propel you to something, to a bigger endeavor, or to push you to go further in life. So where is this coming from?
Sorry, I'm gonna tear up a little bit because it's very nice to share. I would say I kept it bottled up for like 10 years because, in Thailand, it's very taboo to even talk about sexual intercourse in general. And especially if you're saying that someone took advantage of you, it's very common for people not to believe you, or even, for people to say it's okay. Like I read an article, for example, in 2019, where two girls who were going to school, high school girls, and they were literally raped by their teachers, gang raped. And when the interviewer went to ask them, what were you thinking? What do you think about what happened? They went to ask the rapist what they thought. And the rapist said, if you don't want to get raped, don't come to school, And so when I read that, I thought, wow, people here actually still think like that. I found it astounding. How can you think that these two innocent girls going to high school should be okay with getting raped? And so I guess a combination of that and me just having enough, like, why can't I share this? Why can't I do something positive with this? I'm so sick of keeping it inside, And so, and also, of course, with the support of my family, they've been very supportive. And the people around me, my friends, even my relationships, they've been very supportive. So that really helps me, I think, to have the courage to do something,
So is that
say something.
yeah?
Mhm.
Thank you for really no words. I'm just thankful that you were able to share a bit of that private side of yours that for sure
Thank you.
you wouldn't allow yourself to expose. But thank
Mhm.
you for revealing that. We got to know you better, understand more, or get who you are as a person, as a
Mhm.
candidate leading to the competition. Yes. So my next question is this the reason why you are joining Miss Universe Thailand to empower a
Oh,
lot of women?
is this the exact reason? Absolutely not. I'm joining because I want to bring the crown back to Thailand, of course, and to represent women. But it is, of course, a huge motivator. It gives me a bigger reason to want to be Miss Universe Thailand because I feel like I have something to share that a lot of people here are not talking about just yet, you know. And I don't think it's enough to just want to be Miss Universe Thailand. I think you need to have a bigger reason as to why you're doing it that is beyond for your own personal needs, you know. So it's a huge motivator. But of course, it's not the only reason I'm doing it, but it's a huge motivator, a bigger vision, a bigger reason.
So how are you preparing for the competition right now?
Oh,
This is already your second time to join, right?
yes.
So see this picture. Yeah, this is your second time to join because you joined Miss Universe Thailand back in 2013. Were you
Mhm.
what was your placement back then?
So
You're
I,
the girl on the far right, right?
yes,
So
I'm the girl on the far right. So I got a second runner up. They basically they have the winner, you have second place, and then you have three girls who get second runner up. There is no distinguish as to who gets higher than the other, which I think is wonderful. So I got second runner up with two other girls.
oh, all right. Uh,
Mhm.
so why it took you so long to join Miss Universe Thailand again?
I've been going through a lot of things in between. There were some contracts involved, you know, which I don't want to blame anyone else. It's my fault for being naive, I guess, and signing them in the first place. But also, for example, Asia's Next Top Model, I thought was a wonderful opportunity to get to experience a contest outside of Thailand. You know, it's a nice way to prepare for a bigger, you know, for Miss Universe Thailand, I thought, and it's more the model aspect of it. Um, and then after that, the next big contest I joined was the Face. Now this one, we ended up like everyone who made it to top 15 ended up signing a contract. And again, I'm not saying it's anyone's fault except mine. You know, with that contract, I was not really able to join any other contest. So when I finally got out of it last year, I decided, yes, this is the time. I can finally do something that I want to do, you know, in terms of the pageantry aspect.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of Asia's Next, also everything that you've been doing is sort of a preparation for your second foray or your comeback
Yes.
in pageant. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely.
wait. Since you mentioned about Asia's Next Top Model, do you also know that your batchmate there, Eliza Malinaw, here in the Philippines, is also trying her luck in Miss Universe Philippines?
I heard. Yes, I heard, and I'm very
Yes.
excited for her. Honestly, I didn't get to know her much because I was there for a very short time, but I feel like we clicked, or I at least feel like I felt good around her, and I'm really happy for her. I'm go for it, girl. If she gets a chance to see this, I'd say go for it. Of course, whoever Philippines choose, I hope is a good representation of Philippines, and that's, you know, she's my girl, so I'll cheer for her. But may the best woman
Yeah.
win.
I just find it odd that of two girls from the same batch of ASNTM are really trying out their luck in their
It's
respective
amazing.
countries. So yeah, right. So
Yeah.
um, So what makes you different this time around, Miss Maya? I mean, you already joined back in 2013. What makes you
Mhm.
different this time around in 2020?
I would say my mindset. I'm not afraid to really be myself. You know, at that age, I had already experienced the what I told you about earlier. But because I was so young, I was 19, I did not have the courage to say anything or to talk about it. I didn't even tell my parents, you know, I didn't tell my parents until 10 years later. And I was getting a lot of guidance and advice, you know, from my mentor, from a huge team of wonderful people. So I did not really, I guess, I just listened to most of the things they said. You know, I did not really stand firm and say, but this isn't me. You know, I'm taking all of your feedback, but I guess the difference is now I can say I'm taking your feedback. However, this doesn't really feel like me, so I won't do it. Or I can also sometimes I say, hey, I'm taking your feedback. I think it's great and it still feels like me. So I will do it, you know. So I think I know myself better this time around. And I'm not afraid to lose and I'm not afraid to win, honestly. Because winning is a little bit scary as well because you have a huge responsibility. It's not just that you win, you know. Yeah. My mindset to conclude.
So yeah, your mind. So that includes being more confident,
Yes.
having more assurance about yourself in terms of who you are, what you are capable
Mhm.
of, your maturity perhaps, and even life experiences. Would you say?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It makes a difference. At least to me, it's made a huge difference.
So do you think your candidacy, your second attempt in Miss Universe Thailand is coming in such a perfect time, considering that Miss Universe itself, the mother organization, is also evolving as a pageant brand?
Perfect time, potentially, though I do believe that even if it was the perfect time, you know, even it is if it is the perfect time, it doesn't really matter if I'm not ready for it, you know. So I have to make the best of it regardless. I still have to do my best. I still have to train. I still have to prepare because, I mean, let's be honest, there's 93 other gorgeous women right now also in the running. You know, it could be a perfect time for any one of us actually. So let's see.
Because I asked that question because if you're not aware, Miss Universe is all about inclusivity and diversity nowadays.
Yeah.
They're more they are championing a lot of diverse beauties. They're more inclusive. They're more, they're champion different looks nowadays
Yes.
compared to during your time in 2013 when it's all about the glitz, the glam, the
Yeah.
glamazonas who could really do those killer pasarela or catwalk skills on stage. But now it's really different, and they're now really championing a lot of, they seem to crown winners who so much maturity, wisdom, and life experiences over the years. So do you think you're kind of treading the right path in terms of how things are boding well for you right now, and how the mother organization is looking for in its winners nowadays?
I think so. At least mentally. I am very confident that I have the mental capacity to potentially be a great role model. However, I might be a little bit skeptical because I'm human. I do have tattoos, which in Thailand, you know, they're more open-minded. You have Pipui. She is the director of Miss Universe Thailand, who seems to have a very open mind and told the public, look, guys, it's 2020. Tattoos, they're not that strange anymore, you know, as long as it's not in the middle of your head or your neck or something where it might affect your job. So I am a little bit skeptical as to how the public will react, you know, regardless of my mind. So, but I do think it is perfect timing that people are more open-minded. You know, Thailand is more open-minded. The world is more open-minded, as we've seen Zonzibini Tanzi win last year. I think she's a great representation of where the world is today in a sense of open-mindedness. And she's very intelligent.
Sozi Tunzi. Wow, yeah, she is. She really is. Wow, actually, I was scrolling down your Instagram, and I saw that is a tattoo that you have a tattoo on the back. I was scared to post it here because, oops, I think that might be a red flag. Because considering that Thailand, your country, is very traditional and very conservative, just like how we are in the Philippines as well. Because I know here in the Philippines, pageant organizations,